So I used to think that astral traveling was just a bunch of like fictitious made up bullshit until it started happening to me spontaneously. And I thought I was having a post COVID heart attack. I got a pretty nasty COVID infection in September of 22. Sort of like about as nasty as you can get without having to go to the hospital. So grateful for that. But took me down. So that was September. Then that holiday season, getting like into Christmas time, I started having these experiences where I wouldn't recognize that I was leaving until I would slam back in my body spontaneously. And it scared the shit out of me. So essentially, what it felt like was almost like falling asleep and kind of abruptly waking up, but it was different enough that I could tell I wasn't falling asleep. And it initially started in meditation. And I would suddenly realize I hadn't been there. I guess it's really hard to explain. And that's part of why I want to document it and tell people about it, because I found that I was having to research and ask a lot of questions and reach out to a large part of the spiritual community that I now know to try to find somebody who could help corroborate what was happening to me and if it in fact did sound like astral travel. So the best description I can give is sort of like that falling asleep, but just different enough that I could tell I wasn't falling asleep and I didn't feel like I needed to fall asleep. And, you know, I was just in a pretty significant meditative state. I would not realize that I wasn't present or had left in any way or that anything was different until it literally felt like something slammed back into my body. I would get vibration, almost like internal chills, not like goosebumps on the skin, but internal vibration chills all the way inside the body, and I would literally gasp, you know, coming out of it, because it was so abrupt and would shake me so hard. And then it started to happen even outside of meditation. I had a few times where I would start feeling really dizzy, almost like a low blood sugar kind of crash. So I would try to eat something, I would try to drink something, and it wasn't going away. So I actually had my parents here visiting, and I said, I need to go and lay on the couch. I'm feeling like real swirly. I got something going on here. I'm not sure. Thankfully, they're open and don't think I'm crazy when stuff like that happens. And so went and laid on the couch, and I mean, laying there 30 seconds, and it happened. And it was really scaring me because I actually said to my husband, like, oh my God, am I having like a post-COVID heart attack? I feel like what am I dying? What's wrong? I don't understand what's happening. And so thankfully, knowing enough people and having enough resources to tap into, I started asking some people questions who I either knew to have said that they were astral travelers or had a high suspicion that they were open enough to maybe have experienced something similar. And thankfully, they prompted me to, to understand that something was causing me to spontaneously do this. So and that if I gained some level of control over the experience, that it wouldn't be so abrupt. It wouldn't have me gasping for air. It wouldn't send those, vibrational chills all the way through my body, and that it would be a gentler experience. I still was very nervous and cautious about the idea of it. I definitely had this fear of not being able to come back into my body, sort of like a fear of dying, but a fear of like being lost in the astral and never coming back. So I actually spent about a year, almost a full year. Yeah, it was at least a good 10 plus months, gently exploring this, but only to certain extents. I had a lot of conversations with my higher self, my spirit team, source, God, universe, saying, please help me stay tethered to my body. Please help me keep my body grounded. Sorry about my mastiff snoring really loudly in the background. So once I felt comfortable enough to start purposefully exploring it a little bit more, I tried a bunch of different techniques. I tried the rope technique where you imagine a rope kind of hanging from the ceiling that you like pull yourself out of your body with. I tried cross your arms and roll off your bed onto the floor. I tried just straight sitting up. And none of those were working for me. I just wasn't, I was getting very, very high vibrational. And that tends to happen when I'm in a meditation anyway, where for many, many years, when I get into a really good meditation, I actually feel myself vibrating outside of and above myself lying down. So I was getting to a slightly even higher level with that, but I wasn't quite leaving. I think I still had a lot of internalized fear around the idea of it. But the first time that it actually fully took place was a while back. I did a short series on accessing the Akashic Records for 30 days without asking any questions. And I think it was either the first or second time that I accessed and went to the Akashic Records. I actually got pulled out of the records into an astral travel without asking for it. I had intended to be in the Akashic Records, and I got pulled out instead. And it was incredibly bizarre because after trying all of those different techniques and ideas and watching YouTubes and studying and asking questions of people, it was almost like you know how on an old school typewriter, like the top just kind of like rolls to the side while you're typing and then ding and you slide it back over. It felt almost like I was that typewriter, and it actually pushed me out to the left, like I duplicated myself and just shifted right over to the left, and then I went up. Incredibly thick sort of sensation of pulling. I sort of likened it to like if you've ever tried to, get like a new candle somewhere and you're trying to take that sticker off that won't come, but it has like those glue sticky sticker strings. It kind of felt the way that looks, if that makes any sense. I've still only actually purposefully astral traveled, I think 3 times. I'm still very hesitant and always just want to be safe about it. I've heard horror stories from people that I don't know how true they truly are in terms of the kinds of beings or entities or areas you can encounter in the astral. And ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm still very cautious about it. But now I know that it actually is a legitimate thing that happens. I also feel like I experience it slightly differently, and that was one thing that was surprising to me because some of the people that I talk to who actually do astral travel are highly clairvoyant, and that means that they see incredibly well with their third eye. And to them, astral traveling is very, very visually speaking. It's almost like they're physically present there. I have clairvoyance, but that is not my strongest whatsoever. Mine is, I am much stronger in claircognizance and clairsentience. And my experience in traveling, the physical sensations are bonkers, like out of this world bonkers. And I get a combination of the physical, the knowledge, the claircognizance, and a little bit of like an abstract visual that combines to show me where I am and what I'm doing there and what I'm exploring. Just a new understanding that the experience can still be different dependent on what your innate abilities are. But that's the gist of my astral traveling story and discovering that it appears to be a real thing from somebody who was a skeptic on the entire scenario, even with all of my spiritual practices and the living in a haunted house and being visited by, entities on a somewhat regular basis. It was one that I thought maybe people were making up, and no, it's really not.